Welcome to Section 420, Talkin Yankees, the podcast. Well, Luis Severino, our boy, has grown up. Yeah, no longer a Yankee and now no longer a Met, but has moved on, signed by the Oakland A's for a 3-year deal that could be worth up to $67 million with a player option for 2027, so at least signed for the next 2 years with the Oakland A's. And, again, not really a Yankee anymore, but again, he came up through the Yankee system, and of course, playing with the Mets, you always want to keep some of your eye on some of the people you've helped, bring up, so to speak, like that. So I guess we'll dive into this deal, which I doesn't really make too much sense for both sides, but nevertheless, Severino getting his payday there. So we'll get into the whole thing, but before we get started, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, Section 420 Talkin Yankees, wherever you're listening right now, and also go over to the YouTube, type in Section 420 Talkin Yankees, and subscribe there as well. So Severino, obviously the Yankees really couldn't re-sign him just after the bad year he had with the injuries and stuff like that. Not that he was old and stuff like that. He's still relatively young, but it's getting to a point you really couldn't count on him anymore. So the Mets ended up signing him a 1-year deal for $13 million, and look, he had a pretty decent season for them. Got off to a little bit of a rocky start, but once he found his groove, again, a good bounce back. It's good to see him bounce back and put in a full season as a major league starter there, going 11-7, ERA of 3.91. 31 games started, 161 strikeouts in 182 innings, so a little bit less than a strikeout per inning, but his fastball was clocked at the 4th fastest for qualified starters, and he still had that nasty slider. So again, still had the stuff there. Now he could have came back to the Mets. They had a qualifying offer for $21.05 million. He declined the offer and then took the longer deal from the Oakland A's. So since he declined the Mets offer and the A's signed him, and then in that case, the A's have to give the Mets a draft pick, and I guess they have to give the Mets their 3rd highest draft pick as a compensation there. So that's how that whole deal works. But again, if you're the Oakland A's, I just don't understand why you're making this move. I know the team's improved a little bit, but last season they finished 69-93. There's still a long way to go. And you have Severino, who's he's the type of guy you bring into your rotation if you think you're going to make a move for the postseason or you're going to do some big things. That's, Severino's a guy you could add for that. This Oakland team is just so far away. I don't know why they're making this move. And, they don't even have a stadium anymore. Obviously, now they're done with the Oakland Coliseum. They're going to play the next 3 seasons in some minor league park in Sacramento, and then finally get the new digs in Vegas. But by the time that Vegas stadium is ready, Severino's done. His contract's, they'll be after his 3rd year if he picks up the player option. So I don't know why this move makes no sense whatsoever. Yeah, so you have to put a team out there that fans want to see at least a little bit, and does that create a little excitement in Sacramento? Maybe, but you do see people in Sacramento now buying A's uniforms and jerseys and hats and gloves and stuff and packing that ballpark. Probably not. It's probably not going to be a good team. Maybe the first month or two just for the initial, wow, a new team, once that initial buzz wears off, no one's going to care anymore. And you've now handed this guy a record contract for this organization. Their previous record, highest gross contract they've given was $66 million, and that was to Eric Chavez, a 6-year deal back in 2004. So 20 years later, they now increased that by $1 million in this, again, $67 million deal, which also includes a $10 million signing bonus for Luis Severino. So for Severino, and on his side too, all right, I understand maybe you want to take the best deal possible, but don't you also want to pitch in the postseason and pitch for a better team? He's 30 years old, so he's not old. He still has time to go. But all right, this is your prime years. Don't you want to use it in a better situation? Now, obviously, I don't think the Yankees were knocking on his door, but potentially some other teams could have that are just a little better position than the Oakland A's are right now. I don't know, maybe the Phillies would have looked at him, or just, maybe potentially the Dodgers. They did throw money around left and right. He could have found himself a better team to pitch for the Oakland A's. So from both standpoints, I don't really understand the deal whatsoever. Again, I'm happy Severino's getting his payday. Fine, it's not a tremendous payday. Just when he first came up and the stuff he had, you figured, this might be a $200 million pitcher someday. So it looks like that's not going to happen just because with all the setbacks he had with the injuries in the Yankee uniform for the most part there. But, good for him getting his money there. But I just don't know why you're going to pitch somewhere where, again, it's just no one's going to care. You're going to be irrelevant. And if you're Oakland A's, you're going to be paying this guy a lot of money for what? Unless Oakland has these young phenoms ready to go in the minors and they have a big secret whether we just don't know about and it's going to throw it all out there in 2025 and take the AL West by surprise, okay, but you go again from a team that only won 69 games last season. I just don't know how big of a leap are they going to take. Were they going to maybe be 82 or 81 and 81? Are they going to break 500? Maybe at best. Probably not even that there. So I just don't understand why Oakland's spending the money in this direction. And if you're Severino, again, if this is the best offer you could take, then I understand take the money. But also, you could have put yourself maybe in a better winning situation than this. Or even taking the qualifying offer for the Mets, even though maybe it's a lot less money, but go out there, pitch another game, and you just play for a Mets team that got to the National League Championship Series against the Dodgers. And okay, you lost to a better Dodgers team, but this Mets team wasn't that far. I know they got Pete Alonso floating around. They got to make some moves themselves, to get that team back. But the Mets are at least a little closer than the Oakland A's are. I mean, it's not even close there. So, no, a little bit of a head scratch by Severino, but if that's what he wants to do, maybe he figures, hey, the ballpark and pitching out there in Northern California, maybe he feels like it'll be a pitcher's park and he'll be able to put up some great stats. And I mean, you're taking a little bit of a gamble though, because you don't really know this park. Maybe it's a hitter's park. We just don't know yet. I mean, no one's played a game. We haven't even seen this place. We don't even know what it looks like. So the whole thing's kind of weird. And I can say if the team was going to Vegas next season, if the new ballpark and the excitement and all that stuff, okay, then I wouldn't blame Severino, even if it's on a bad team. That's the excitement of that. But by the time your contract runs out, then the team goes to Vegas. I mean, they could resign you if you're decent or not hurt, but the whole thing doesn't make sense whatsoever. But nevertheless, that Severino gets his little bit payday there with the Oakland A's. And again, figured worth mentioning just because he was a former Yankee for a couple of years and also a former Met. So it's a tri-state area guy. Let's put it that way. And as for Juan Soto, looks like by this Monday, it seems like he's probably going to announce the decision. And this was way back when. Again, mentioned it both here on the audio podcast as well as on the YouTube show. That again, originally Soto said that he wanted to have this decision made by the winter meetings, and lo and behold, Monday, December 9th, the winter meetings are supposed to start there, so it kind of lines up with that. So I guess he wants to get that all locked in, because then after that, you'll see all the dominoes fall. You'll see probably some of the other big free agent names out there, like an Alex Bregman, for example, see where he ends up. And so, again, there's probably a lot of teams just waiting on for the Soto move, and it kind of makes sense, because when the GMs meet, they kind of lay the groundwork and foundation to make some trades, usually around like late December or January. So once Soto's kind of off the wall there in terms of where he's going to end up, then you'll see all the other pieces falling into place. And again, I predict that he's just going to stay in the Yankee uniform. And I kind of been seeing some other headlines around that. It makes just so much sense. Again, unless someone else really blows him away with the money, I just think the Yankees are the best situation for him. They could give him the money he wants. He's on a winning team. A team that's going to be competitive as hell every season. And again, unless you get a real insane rash of injuries, they're always going to be in the postseason hunt. Some of these other organizations, they may have some success and then they go to sleep for 5 years. And Yankees aren't like that. At worst, they go to sleep for one season and they come right back like they did 2023, 2024 there. So Soto's played here. He's comfortable here. He likes it here. The fans like him here. He just fits in like a glove. He's playing in a good lineup next to Judge, and probably going to get a little bit better. I'm sure Cashman's going to make some moves to improve the lineup. Much as the offense the Yankees had last season, they also had a lot of dead weight. And I think Cashman's going to be able to make some upgrades there in terms of no longer going to have Rizzo, DJ LeMahieu. I think this is going to put him somewhere in the. Obviously he's probably going to be on the team, but I just can't see he's not going to be a starter on this team as much. I mean, that'd just be a disaster because he's just completely finished. So just by him just not playing, it's an addition from there. With Gleyber Torres, who yes, he got a little bit better in the postseason, but again, I think he was sort of a little bit of dead weight as well, just kind of in his fogginess, throughout most of the regular season there. So I think anyone you bring in is going to be an addition from there. And of course, the Yankees made a little upgrade behind the dish. Instead of just having Trevino and Higgy, obviously Higgy gone now, was signed recently with the Texas Rangers. I think the combination of having Wells as your main starter for the most season and Trevino as the backup, which looks like that's going to be the case for 2025. Again, that's an increase from there. You'll start the season probably with Jazz at third base, which again is probably better than how you started last season with. So again, Soto's going to be on a little bit of a better team than even was last season. And again, if the Yankees could make that move for someone like Christian Walker or Cody Bellinger for first base, that's like a tremendous upgrade over what you gotten from Rizzo last season there. So a lot of reasons for Soto to stay with the Yankees. Again, I put at 65 to 70% chance he stays in a Yankee uniform. So hopefully by the next episode we could announce that and I'll be right and I'll be all happy about that. So we'll catch you next time.